Hey, it's Matt with Midwest Guns and Gear, and we've got some old school, well, new old school kind of, that we're going to be talking about today. And it's going to be a little different than what we normally do, because normally I pull a couple of firearms out of the vault. We talk about them up here, and then we head down to the range. But these are a couple we're not going to head down to the range on, just because of the type of firearms they are. And we'll be talking about some black powders. These are Colt Signature Series from the Colt Black Powder Company. These are known as the third generation. Colt, of course, had their original black powder revolvers. And then in the 70s and 80s, they had what's known as the second generation, which are classified as Colts. They are lettered as Colts. And then in the 90s, they had the Colt Signature Series. And these were not made by Colt-manufacturing. These were actually from the Colt Black Powder Company, which we're going to talk about a little bit here. And they're kind of Colts. They're not really Colts. I mean, they can't be lettered. A few of them can, but just due to the way that they came about, there was a little bit of issues between Ivor Johnson and Uberti and San Armagnac. And yeah, but they are very nice, very fine looking revolvers. This is one. This is a 1862 Trapper. It has the fluted cylinder on it, a very very fine finish, the charcoal royal blue. It has Samuel Colt's signature on the back strap of it, and it does say on there Colt Black Powder Company, but very, very nicely made. They did put a lot of quality into these. This one has never been fired, part of one of the reasons that we're not going to head down to the range on it. And I've got a second one of these too, that still in the box. Again, never been fired. This is how they were originally sold. They came in the box with a instruction manual that kind of covered all of the Colt black powders. And this is, I believe this was 1849 pocket pistol. And let's get this out of here. And again, this one finished really nice. The chrome on it has started to flake a little bit. Now this has pretty much just been in the box. It has never been shot. It has cylinder has been turned, but it's never been dry fired. And this one has up on top of the barrel. I'll get my glasses on here. Remember what was on there? It's says address Sam Colt, New York. I don't know how well you can see that. They have the serial numbers, all matching serial numbers that are underneath. And this one has a little bit, almost like the Wells Fargo type pattern on the cylinder. These do have a serial number on the cylinder, and do say Colt's patent on the side. If you look into a lot of these aftermarket firearms that black powder that are the Colt style, one thing you will notice, which you can tell they're an Uberti or a San Marco or a CVA, one of the other brands, is they will not have the serial number. It'll say Colt's patent and have a place for the serial number on the cylinder, but all of the ones I've ever had have never had a number actually on there. There's the box for it, but I guess, you know, for patent reasons, they didn't want to get sued. But these, again, very nicely made. The finish, the quality of them, and I just have a couple of these pocket ones that I had come across at one point with, I think one of the gun stores that I go into a lot, somebody had a whole collection of all of them, and I don't know if it was someone that passed away and his family was getting rid of them, or if he was getting rid of them, but they all showed up, and by the time I got in there, there were only like 3 that hadn't sold, so I bought 2 of them. And you know, they're kind of nice. You have them down in the safe, have them on display. You know, definitely interesting. Whether they're a Colt or not, probably not. Colt actually doesn't claims a few of these 3rd generations, but very few of them. And we're going to talk a little bit about how these came to be. Now, Colt did have the 2nd generation that had been made in the 80s. And at the end of the contract, Lou Imperto, who was in charge of Ivor Johnson, was assembling the 2nd generation Colts. And this, by the way, I do want to give credit where credit is due. This comes from capandballrevolvers.com on the internet. So before I forget, I definitely want to give them credit. I don't want to steal their work. But Lou had the contract to assemble the 2nd generation of Colts, and was already working on a new contract to produce a 3rd generation series. And it seemed he considered the possibility of having Uberti make the completely finished revolvers. So a series of 16 revolvers of different models were made by Uberti for Ivor Johnson, with all the necessary Colt markings. Each revolver carried a license permission letter from Colt to indicate that Colt Manufacturing had given their permission for these revolvers to carry the Colt markings via a specially licensed agreement. The finish was a royal charcoal blue over highly polished metal. These do, however, have the Uberti name under the loading lever. Colt would not accept this, and so he rejected Mr. Imperato's proposal. The approval letters are dated January 15, 1990, based on a contract between Ivor Johnson by Mr. Imperto and Colt dated July 1985. The 16 revolvers are highly collectible today. And taking a look at this, this does not have any Uberti underneath the loading lever. Now, it wasn't until 1993 that Lou formed the Colt Black Powder Arms Company to create what became known as the 3rd generation series, known as the Signature Series. The 3rd generation series was under a licensing agreement with Colt Manufacturing, but had no connection to Colt at all, except for the use of Colt's license name. Now, under this licensing agreement, these were produced by Ivor Johnson Factory, where the 2nd generation, the F Series, were produced. And this was responsible for procurement of all parts, which came from Uberti and later from Armi San Marco, as we have found out, in Italy. These revolvers were marketed by John J. Giovanni and Company of New York, owned by Lou Imperto. But Ivor Johnson was also responsible for quality control, final inspection, marketing, advertising, sales, and distribution of the revolvers. This was a totally different agreement than either Forgat or Imperto had for the C Series or the F Series, and these 3rd generation revolvers were never affiliated with Colt Manufacturing, and Colt Manufacturing would not recognize them nor letter these revolvers, except for very, very rare occasions. Colt will only letter those revolvers that have a complete series of manufacturing, final inspection, and quality control records that satisfy the Colt requirements for lettered revolvers. These records are available for very, very few 3rd generation revolvers. Now, a statement that was published in November 1994 in Gun Test magazine had revealed that Colt's Manufacturing Company apparently was concerned with its customers being confused by similar names, and said it had nothing to do with black powder guns being sold under the authentic Colt Black Powder Signature Series name. They went on to quote Jeff Crate, Colt's Vice President of Sales and Marketing at the time. He was reported as stating, "The guns are manufactured and marketed by John J. Giovanni and Company of New York via Ivor Johnson and bear only the Colt name. The revolvers are being produced and sold through a special licensing agreement which was negotiated prior to the current management. In 1994, CMCI, Colt Manufacturing Company, Inc., assumes no responsibility for product quality, workmanship, or reliability. Now, something that's a little interesting about these third generation series is that Lou Imperta left Armi San Marco holding the bag on a bunch of parts ordered by the Colt Black Powder Arms when Colt Black Powder Arms went out of business in 2002. Most of them were barrels that had been marked with the Colt address, and so Armi San Marco, since these parts were already finished and they had them, they just went ahead and put them on their own revolvers that they were importing into the United States, and those were they imported quite a few. Were some cheaper but decently made ones, but they came in with the Colt address, and then at one point I guess Colt finally filed patent infringements, and they were stopped by U.S. Customs of being able to import anything with the Colt address on it. Now, taking a look at these individual ones, the 1849 pocket, just a little bit about it. It's got a 4-inch barrel. It is a 5-shot capacity, 31 caliber percussion, 5-shot, 4-inch barrel, unfluted, straight cylinder, color case hardened, short frame, silver plated back strap, and round trigger guard, which you can kind of see on there a little bit, and walnut grips. These were made up until 2002. Then taking a look at the Trapper, the 1862 Trapper is one of the rarest of the third generation Signature Series percussion revolvers. This series in '95 reflect both historical curiosity and strategic decisions to expand the line of revolvers under Colt's name despite its limited production. The Trapper's become a notable model in the context of replicas and black powder revolver collecting. Its inclusion in the Signature Series was significant as it carried the Colt name but was still produced under a licensing agreement with Italian manufacturers. The 1862 Trapper, it is a third generation Signature Series. The caliber is 36 caliber. Blued finish, color case hardened frame with silver plated trigger guard and back strap. I said chrome earlier, I guess it is silver according to the website I'm looking at here. This is actually a ad for one of these that is for sale, but due to YouTube's policies, I will not give that because you can't talk about anything for sale. But walnut grip, single action, cap and ball, percussion revolver, and again, very very nicely made. The fluted cylinder kind of has a interesting look to it. It has the, on the top barrel, address Sam Colt, New York, U.S., America. It has barrel, frame, and trigger guard. All have the serial numbers on there. And the cylinder does not have that. That's what I was kind of looking to see. But it does have that on the bottom of the back strap as well. So just a little look at these. I probably rambled on a little bit about them. I'm not one that's super big on black powder. I've got a few black powders. I've got some metallic cartridge firearms that were made for black powder, and those I probably shoot a little more than the black powder ones. But just the cleanup is what I don't like. It seems like you get quite a bit more cleanup, and no matter how much I clean up my black powder firearms after I'm done shooting them, I'll come back a couple days later and then I see crud that's still on there, and it gets me frustrated. I have OCD, so that will get me a little bit frustrated. So I don't shoot them a lot. These, like I said, maybe they might be collectors someday. I don't know. I mean, they're Colts, but they're really not a Colt. It's kind of in that weird little in-between. But they've never been fired. They've got a very nice finish. So, these kind of just sit down in the vault as a collector's item. And just thought I'd bring them up and share them with you today. It's Matt from Midwest Guns and Gear. If you enjoy these videos, please consider giving us a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. It's much appreciated, and it helps the channel grow. Till next time, have a great day.